Okay, here we go. I want to talk about how we got here. So during the lockdowns, people were getting really pissed off, and they're just driving really aggressive. So and nobody was on the road. A lot of people were locked up inside. They were working from home. So a lot of these people, they were just driving as fast as they wanted, wherever, whenever. With that, when everything started reopening, it was really hard for them to acclimate with all the cars around. They were just so used to going gung ho on these streets. And, in my personal opinion, I think people had a lot of pent up aggression. There was a lot of stress going on for a really long time, a lot of confusion, and they didn't know how to handle it. So, one way of doing it, unfortunately, people were just going fast. So, this is actually a really sad story. So, back in September of 2021, a girl who was age 7, Hannah Crutchfield, she was crossing the street with her mom, and she got run over by these two people. So, the story behind that is this teenager had hit this guy. He had hit this guy's car. Well, she took off, and the guy started chasing after her. And then they ended up getting in a car crash that ran over Hannah Crutchfield, hit her mom, and hit the crossing guard too. And so after that, the big advocacy groups between pedestrian and bicycle, they got together. DPW director at the time, Dan Parker, he was saying, "It's like, oh, we need to figure this out. What's actually going on? Is it infrastructure problems? Is there anything that we can do with it?" Spoiler alert, it's not really infrastructure problems, it's a people problem. So this is the kind of the crap that was really pissing me off at the time. That, you know, common sense people know you're going to slow down in a school zone. The speed limit's there. Even if you have flashing lights, there are still people, plenty of people, that are going to speed through there. They don't care. A lot of low IQ dipshits are just going to speed right through there. It doesn't matter if it's in downtown, doesn't matter if it's in a rural area or suburban area. They're just going to do it. So what ended up happening was the guy, Torrell King, he was charged with manslaughter. And then the teenager, um, I'm not sure what happened to her. I think her name was Mia Sargent. You can go onto my case and you can look up Torrell King because they're still in a civil lawsuit with the crossing guard and the insurance company because he's still messed up. So what ended up happening is after that situation happened, all the advocacy groups got together and they wanted to do a memorial. One of them is named Michelle Pleasant. Her husband, Matt Pleasant, works for the city, I think in DMD. She never at one point talked about Torrell King or Mia Sargent running over Hannah Crutchfield. All they wanted to do was have a memorial playground. They wanted to raise funds to do a memorial playground in her honor. Well, this was already a playground that was around. They were just doing upgrades. They ended up raising like $240,000, 220, 240, something like that, and to upgrade all this playground equipment. If I don't know about you, but that does seem like a lot of money to upgrade playground equipment. But hey, to each their own. This is also a good lesson on that you don't need the government to fix things. If you have the private sector, they gather around. They have a common cause. They can raise money to have a lot of these infrastructure things repaired. But this was what was pissing me off. No point did any of these advocacy groups talk about Terrell King or Mia Sargent. Now, if I were them, I would have been bitching about it the whole time. It's like there needs to be retribution. There needs to be a consequence to these kind of actions. It shouldn't just be like, oh, it's all infrastructure. We need to have lights. We need to have warnings. Well, common sense people know not to speed in a fucking school zone. They know not to go drive aggressively when there's people around. They just need to pay attention. And right now, there's no consequence to it. The prosecutor's office, the courts, they're not doing anything. And when something does happen, when some dipshit does get arrested, when he does get charged, guess what happens? He gets a low bond, and then Ryan Mears decides not to prosecute him. Charges dismissed. Why? Because they're all lazy. They're all lazy and they don't care. And right now, the prosecutor's office is wanting to unionize. Why? Because of pay and they have a huge caseload. Well, all of this could be stopped if there was consequences to people's actions. So, fast forward to 2023. The jury of that of the Terrell King ended up finding him. They ended up acquitting the charges. They found him not guilty of anything. Now, tell me what's going to happen after this. Because I'm going to tell you a little detail on top of this, too. Right now, the policy in IMPD is to not chase people that run away from cops in a car. It's up to the cop's discretion. It's up to the IMPD, that officer working at that point. It's up to their discretion if they want to chase after them. Now, I understand both sides of it. If they start going like 100 down 37 or Michigan or whatever, you're putting a lot of people's lives at risk. Well, now the word is out. The word's been out. And people are just fleeing from the cops because good chance, I would say 50-50, that the officer is not going to chase after them. So this sets the precedent of you could just do whatever you want without any kind of consequence. And so right now we have Indianapolis, a society in certain areas where it's just a Wild West. There's no consequences to your actions, so I can just do whatever I want. And we have a court system, we have the prosecutor's office that just doesn't care. And right now, everybody keeps blaming IMPD. They're not all to blame. I would say like they're probably the smallest amount for them to play in any of this. They can build a case. This is, by the way, this is what I've told IMPD officers, and I'm telling them if any of my 5 subscribers that right now are listening or they've relayed this video to IMPD, I'm actually on your side. Most of the time, like 99% of the time, I'm on your side. Like you guys could build a case around this whole thing, and it's up to the prosecutor's office to run with it. But you can go onto my case. You can see I just did a video on it. Go onto my case, my case Indiana. You're going to click on attorney. Last name Mears, first name Ryan. Scroll a little bit down. Click on decided. Go through the felony charges. Go through the felony charges and see which ones are getting dismissed. There's no consequences to these actions. So right now what's going on is that you have all of Indianapolis. They all know they can do whatever they want. The people know that these scumbags can get away with whatever they want. And what are we supposed to do with that? You have good people that want to feel safe, but they're never going to feel safe if you have these bad people still roaming around without any consequences. And now the next generation, the Zoomers, they all know that they can get away with whatever they want. So what are we supposed to do with that? Well, I can tell you, people are still going to vote for it. Why? Because people want it. People want this kind of degenerate behavior on the streets, in their own homes. They want this kind of behavior without any consequence. So if you want change, you have to vote it out. That's the only way. The mayor is in charge of appointing the police chief. The mayor sets the policy. He appoints all these major positions that aren't elected, and then they're approved by the city council. You're setting the tone. This is what like irritates the shit out of all these elections. Nobody is saying we're going to do it this way, and I got people ready. Even if they're not ready, you just need to like, well, what do we need for a policy? No more bullshit. That's what we want. Give them a vision. And right now, the vision in Indianapolis is garbage. And you guys need to stop voting for it. My 5 subscribers. That's all I'm saying. We need change. People sign the social contract of this is the line that we're not going to cross. You can float around it. You can go past it if you want, but expect the consequence. This is it's kind of like DUI drivers. Eventually, you're going to get caught. Eventually, or people that get caught with drugs. Eventually, you're going to get caught. You do them so often, you're going to get caught. And then your time's run out. Like, I don't know how many speeding tickets I've had. I've had a lot. Like, I know exactly what I'm doing, and I'm taking that chance that I'm going to get caught eventually. And I did. So we really just need to, and this all boils down to family. And I know I'm ranting right now, but this whole this whole fatality crash review team, it's absolutely garbage. We need to start shaming people in some of these things. It's the only way anything's ever gonna change. We used to be a society of morals. We used to have a line that we would set and we wouldn't cross it. And if people did cross it, especially repeatedly, a habitual line stepper, they would get in trouble. And now we're just saying, it's like, no, it's okay. Do as you want. Love is love. Hey, if it's not hurting you, why do anything about it? Well, now all they are hurting us. Those habitual line steppers are hurting us, and it's only going to escalate because those people don't have a line. They don't have a moral compass. They're always going to do bad, and it's always going to get worse. Nothing ever gets better until you set the policy for it.